Greetings, everybody. Learning is a hobby here. I wanted to do my September vlog for you guys. This is going to be kind of a chatty one, so if you're hoping for a short introduction to what's going to happen in September and going forward, this is not the one. I'm going to be a little bit more conversational here, and if you like I said, anything I talk about here, if you want to mention anything or add any comments or anything, feel free to do it down below. So, it's September already. The fall semester has started for me, and you may have noticed that my video posting schedule has taken a bit of a nosedive recently, and it's because the fall semester has started. So I've been busy with work stuff. I also got sick this week, so I just wasn't in good shape to make videos. I was kind of moody, and especially because the summer was over and everything. But I think going forward in September, I'm gonna have to go back to my school semester posting schedule here on the YouTube channel, meaning mostly on the weekends. Maybe if I can, I'll try to post a short video in the middle of the week. Speaking of which, I do want to keep going forward with my problem of the day. It's just I don't have enough time to do it. I don't think I'm gonna have enough time to do it every single day like I have been doing, because I had off in August. But do want to keep that playlist going. Let me know what you guys think down below if you watched any of those, if you enjoyed them, or if you have any suggestions or anything. I'd be happy to hear about it down below. I have some books that I want to talk about with you today too. Just like I said, this is going to be kind of a chatty session here. Um, so let's see, what's the first thing I want to talk about? Oh, I know what the first thing is. My friend JJ over at In the Lab with JJ has finally begun his series on learning the art of electronics. This book here, he's using the newest edition, second edition. So I wanted to point you guys his way if you're interested in learning about electronics. I'll post a link to his YouTube page down in the description bar too, if you want to check it out. So he started on those. I think he's posting them. I might be wrong, but I think he's doing it every first Tuesday in the month or something. But go over there and watch his video, and I'm sure he'll set me straight if that's not correct. So that's the first thing. Second thing is I want to let's get the sort of non-math stuff out of the way first. Um, I discovered a new channel over the summer called Vintage SF, and have been enjoying his videos. And in particular, he has a bookshelf video, which I'll post a link to down below if you guys want to see. And He inspired me to pick up this book, The Encyclopedia of Science Fiction, by John Clute and Peter Nichols. It's quite a weighty volume here. I haven't had a chance to flip through this yet, but I do plan on using this as a reference. If you've been a watcher of the channel, you know that I'm a fan of science fiction. So this might be a useful resource for picking out some interesting reading to do over the winter as the sun sets earlier and earlier in the day. Sorry, I don't mean to depress people. Um, John Clute also has a book like this on fantasy literature as well. I didn't pick that one up just because I'm not as interested in literature. I don't know why. I just never really got into it. But he does have one if you like, st fantasy type stuff. But this one, like I said, is has a lot of information about science fiction books if you're interested in science fiction. Um, I should make a little bit of a comment here too. I did start over the summer experimenting with some science fiction stuff on the channel. I posted, I think it was two videos where I read a couple of short stories, but I wasn't really happy with the way that they came out, so I deleted them. But I do still want to keep going with that. If you did watch those videos, let me know if you have any feedback about them. Um, in particular, I want to do something special for October for the Halloween season. So I might, get into some American horror short story stuff like Edgar Allan Poe and Hawthorne and that type of stuff. Uh, some Ray Bradbury and things like that. Let me know. Like I said, this is this is what I'm telling you that I'm thinking about for the future. So let me know if you have any opinions about that. Um, and like I said, if you have any comments about those videos that I deleted, if you saw them, like I said, I just wasn't really happy with the way that I presented it. I'll have to rethink maybe how I go about doing it. I'm still working on the office here, so once that's done, I will, for the people that are waiting for bookshelf videos, I will have that. Once I get all of that stuff finished, I will be doing the bookshelf videos. It's just taking me longer than, as things always do, it's taking me longer than I thought it was going to initially. Um, Another thing, well, actually, before I get to the last topic that I want to talk about here today, I picked up a few books on some gaming stuff that I don't really talk about gaming on here as much as I used to. But if you don't know, I'm an avid backgammon and chess player. Avid doesn't mean good. It just means that I play a lot. Um, I'm not particularly good at either of those games, but there was a recent publication that I was waiting for a long time that I finally was able to pick up, which was this one, Backgammon: Strategic Concepts by Francois Tardot. And you can pick this up if you're in the States. You can finally get a copy of this in English um, through the Backgammon Galaxy website. So if you're interested in that, check this out. Basically, what this book is a bunch of positions that are analyzed by French backgammon players. So it's a nice resource. You can see it's basically just a whole bunch of backgammon positions. So this is the type of book that I find invaluable when I'm studying. Um, Speaking about backgammon and chess, I also picked up um, Sam Kahn's A Century of Chess, which is a book on the history of chess. Uh, this is the first volume, book one, from 1900 to 1909. What it seems like Kahn is trying to do is he is going to obviously the topic, the title is A Century of Chess. Um, I guess he's going to do it the 20th century decade by decade, but for the moment, all he has is the first book is out now, and it's just on the first decade. So, but I think he plans on in the future coming out with volume two and volume three and so on. Um, this one, like I said, covers the first decade of the 20th century. Let me just read out some of the chess players that he talks about. Harry Pillsbury, David Janowski, Carl Schlechter, Sigbert Tarrasch. I have Tarrasch's book on chess instruction. I might have to pull that off the shelf and check it out when I read that section. Frank Marshall, the Marshall of Marshall Chess Club fame, I believe. Um, Geza Maraxi. I'm not sure how to pronounce that name, unfortunately. Maybe he tells you in the, in the chapter. uh Osip Bernstein, Emmanuel Lasker, who is someone I'm particularly interested in because he was a mathematician as well as a chess player. Uh Ulrich Duras, Akiba Rubinstein, um, and that's it. So from it goes from 1900 to 1909. So I haven't had a chance to read this yet, but I did watch the podcast where on the Perpetual Chess podcast where the host interviews him about this book, which I'll post a link to that video down below if you guys want to see that. So that's A Century of Chess by Sam Kahn. Um, One other book that actually a couple other books here on mathematical topics and involving games. I picked up The Mathematics of Poker by Bill Chen and Jared Ankerman. I haven't started reading this yet, but this book seems to be getting more and more popular as time goes on. And I believe Bill Chen, I don't know if both authors, but I think one of the authors is a mathematician. So they go through obviously the mathematics um, of poker. They analyze the statistics and everything through, and since they're mathematicians, obviously, they don't skimp on the math. So I wanted to check this one out because, um, you know, I'm always looking for like topics to like introduce into my classes that the students might find interesting. And card games are always an easy one for, if you're talking about probability and stuff. So I don't know. I just thought it might be interesting to read through this and see if there's anything interesting I could use in my classes. Um, Speaking of which, something similar to that, but for a different game. This book is Mathematical Go End Games. If you're not familiar with the game of Go, you should check it out. It's an interesting game. The subtitle here is Nightmares for the Professional Go Player, and this is written by Elwin Berlekamp and David Wolf. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing the names correctly. Um, this book I had on my radar for a long time, but the original edition of this was only in hardback and it was super expensive. And I just wasn't prepared to pay that much money for something that I'm only really tangentially interested in. But luckily for myself and for you, if you like mathematics and games, or if you're just a Go fan, um, they came out with a paperback edition finally that's a decent price. It's like $20 or something, as opposed to the original one, which was like close to like $200, which was ridiculous to me. There's a lot of good diagrams and everything in here. I don't think the authors, if you read the introduction, say that this is not really going to improve your Go game. It's more about the mathematical analysis of the game of Go, particularly end games when the situation is amenable, more to analysis. Because at the beginning of the game, there's so many options, it's kind of hard to really optimize things. Um, I don't know if I'm kind of speaking out my butt here because I haven't read anything about mathematics in Go yet, but you can let me know down below. So yeah, I don't know. I'm looking forward to checking this out at least. Um, okay, and then finally, I'll get to my last topic here. Oh, actually, no. Um, there's some things that I want to, some websites I want to show you along with the last few books that I'm gonna bring up over here in a second. So actually, this is the second to last thing, I guess. Recently, for whatever reason, who knows what goes on in my tiny little skull here, but I've never really been much of a sports person. But over this summer, for some reason, I got obsessed with baseball. Um, Maybe it had something to do with like Americana and history and stuff like that. Uh, but for whatever reason, I got interested in learning about the history of baseball. And I recently watched the book. I watched the movie adaptation of Michael Lewis's um, book named Moneyball, and I liked it a lot. And it talks about the interaction between statistics and baseball and how recruiting has changed over the years thanks to the work of statisticians like Bill James and so on. I haven't read the book yet, but I do plan on reading it. If you haven't seen the movie, it's kind of an older movie, I'm assuming a lot of people have. But if you haven't, I'd say check it out if you have a couple hours to spare. It's an interesting movie. Uh, I'll take a look at the book and I'll let you guys know what I think about it when I actually get a chance to read through it. But Moneyball got me sort of like hypercharged on the baseball thing. So I picked up the new Bill James historical baseball abstract, which you could see this is another sort of gigantic tome of a book. Huge amount of information in here. This goes over, I guess, like Khan's idea here of going over decade by decade in chess. Uh, Bill James' historical baseball abstract goes over by decade, starting in the history of baseball, starting in the 1870s. Now, baseball existed before the 1870s, and there are some books that I have that talk about that and that I want to eventually read that I don't have. But the Civil War was really where baseball sort of came into its modern sort of popularity, I guess. So I've read the first chapter on the 1870s in here, but obviously, this is not the kind of book that you sit down and read in one sitting. So, when I have some extra time, I might read a decade or two from the book. He also has in the back of the book a bunch of statistics on win shares that he's compiled about players over the years and so on. Like I said, there's a ton of information in here. Bill James, most notably, is um, the guy that sort of made sabermetrics a thing in baseball. Well, not necessarily, but I want to get I want to make a whole video once I am more informed on the topic about sabermetrics, which, if you don't know, is the study of empirical study of baseball statistics. Um, and Bill James in the 80s came out with a maybe like a bi-yearly, I think, publication or something. It was a newsletter called the Bill James Baseball Abstracts that talked about analyzing statistics in baseball, and that really sort of started the sabermetrics revolution in baseball scouting and so on, which is talked about in Moneyball. You can still find copies of Bill James baseball abstracts, which is one of the things I wanted to show you. Let me just share my screen real quick. So if you go to saber.org, SABR stands for the Society of for American Baseball Research. This is the place where actually the society that Bill James first published his baseball abstracts in. But you can still download them, all of them from the 80s, here on this page and their website, which I'll post a link to down below if you're curious. So they have all of them here. So starting with issue one, which was published in 1982, all the way down to the last one that was published. If I scroll down to the bottom here, the last one was published in 1989. This was issue 40. So you can download literally every single one of them as a PDF. So I plan on reading through these over time, um, because I want to learn a little bit about sabermetrics. Like I said, I think it would be interesting to add, some baseball statistics to maybe to my classes when I'm teaching statistics or probability. So that's something I wanted to show you guys. Um, there's some other things that I want to show you here, but before I get to that, let me just show you my last bit of three books that I want to show you before I talk about the next few websites. Whoops. And like I said, all the websites I'll post links to down below if you're curious. Bill James in his historical baseball abstract recommends a three-volume series on the history of baseball, which is one of the first scholarly written books on the history of baseball. I wasn't aware of this, but apparently baseball history now is a recognized part of the history curriculum in at least in United States colleges. I don't recall that being an option when I was a student, but maybe things have changed, or I don't know. Has any of you guys taken a course on the history of baseball in college? That must have been an interesting class. Anyway, these are the books. Like I said, there's three volumes and they cover three different periods in baseball. These are all written by Harold Seymour. The first one is called The Early Years. Um, so that covers, I'm assuming up to like the 1900s probably, or uh, I think they call it the dead ball era of baseball. So it's from its sort of meager beginnings to, its, raising in popularity after the Civil War, I'm assuming. Then you have volume two, which is the golden age of baseball, which I would assume covers maybe like the live ball era, starting with the 1920s and Babe Ruth and stuff like that. Uh, I'm not sure where it ends. Yeah, it covers Ty Cobb, Babe Ruth. Uh, yeah, I don't know what year ends the second volume, but then you have the third volume, which is called The People's Game, all by Harold Seymour. Apparently, these are out of print, unfortunately. I was able to get my hands on some cheap copies, some cheap used copies. I think I paid like $2 or $3 per volume here. So I managed to get all three for a really decent price. Um, but it would be nice if they would be, reprinted in new newer editions with maybe some nice introductions by maybe I don't know, historians of baseball or something. Maybe Bill James if he's still alive. Um, like I said, I'm not really that much I'm not knowledgeable almost at all about baseball. I'm just starting to get into this stuff, so you'll have to forgive my naivety if it seems like I am talking about stuff that everybody knows. You'll have to forgive me because I am naive on the subject. But let me just show you. I'll end with a couple of fun websites here if you want to check them out because I found them interesting. All right, the first one, like I said, was the saber.org, where you can see um, the Bill James baseball abstracts. This is a really interesting YouTube page. The It's called The Baseball Professor, and he has a playlist that he made on the history of baseball. Apparently, he actually is a history professor, and he teaches a course on baseball history. And he ha made a series of lectures that he's posted on YouTube that you can watch all the way up to, so you can see it covers all the different eras. So, the origins of baseball, Gilded Age, Dead Ball era, Live Ball era, et cetera, et cetera. And I think I'm up to, where am I up to? I think I'm up to lecture 14. I'm almost done with the series. But I really enjoyed this series of lectures. So I'll post a link to it down below if you're not aware of this page, you might want to check it out. Just as an aside, also, I've been watching Ken Burns' History of Baseball as well, which was a mini series that was documentary mini series by Ken Burns that was published in the 1990s, I think. I forget what year it was published, but somewhere in the 1990s. So it's not completely up to date, but he covers the early years really well. So really a ton of information in that mini series if you're interested. I'm watching it on Amazon.com if you want to find it. Another interesting thing that I found is this. For people that live in the Long Island area, or even if in the New York City region, um, there is this place called Old Bethpage, which is a sort of historic village that's been preserved. And they have like, they talk about the history of what the town looked like back in the 1800s and so on. But one of the things that they offer, one of the events that they offer is during baseball season, every Sunday they have an old time baseball game. By old time meaning the old rules from like the 1800s. So if want to spend the day out, if it's going to be a nice Sunday or something in September, and you want to do something fun, uh, outside, you can go to Old Bethpage and check out historic a baseball game with using historic rules and all the old outfits and everything. So that looks interesting. I'd like to actually check one of these out this September, and I'll let you guys know if I do. But that means I'd have to convince my wife to do that on one of the Sundays because that's our sort of our day off together, and that might be a little more than I'm able to do. So, but we'll see. I would be interested in watching one of these old baseball games at some point. Okay, here's the video that I was talking about, Vintage SF, the Vintage SF channel. Like I said, I'll post a link to this video down below if you want to check out his stuff on he goes over his science fiction library here, which is pretty cool. Um, then I have In the Lab with JJ. I'll post a link to his video on his series on the learning the art of electronics. And then this is the Perpetual Chess podcast where he interviews Sam Khan about his book. So I'll post all those links down below. Let me stop the screen share for a second. Um, like I said, this is going to be kind of a rambly video, but I hope it wasn't too rambly, and I hope you enjoyed the topics. Let me know as always, what you think down below. Give me a like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. It helps the channel out because the more subscribers and the more views I get, then YouTube will share, the videos obviously with other people that have similar interests. So look forward to more sabermetric content. More look forward to some sabermetric content on the channel probably in the future. And I'm still working on the number theory and the analysis and everything else too. I'm almost done actually with I think I'm on chapter 6 or chapter 5 in topics in commutative ring theory. I forget whichever chapter that I went over the summary last. I'm in the middle of um the exercise set for that, so that should be posted soon. I'm still working on the number theory exercise set from Niven's book, so that should be coming out at some point soon, and obviously Spivak and all the other stuff too. And like I said, I plan on continuing with the problem of the day when I have to get around to figuring out an interesting one to do for the upcoming week. So, but like I said, those are going to end up being more on the weekends now because the fall semester has started. Anyway, it was good to see you guys. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.